Hey everyone, Leo with Dreaming Tree, and welcome to the assembly video for our Poinsettia tea light. I have all my pieces cut out, as should you. Before we begin, I'd love to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you can get notifications anytime we release wonderful products like the one we're about to assemble. So in front of me here, I have the 5 or 6 pieces, I should say, that are required to create this little beautiful tea light that we kind of intended to use as a place setting. We've included this little band that's going to wrap around the actual tea light itself. And you can see how we're going to glue that down, and then the little name is going to stick out and the flower is going to be right on top there. Now, one little thing that I want to mention is that these things come in all sorts of shapes and sizes. Okay, so as far as the band goes, because you can overlap it like this doesn't really matter as far as the size goes. It's going to work pretty much no matter what. Now, as far as the actual floral elements, you'll notice from this vantage point here how the actual flames on these LEDs vary, okay? And these are just 2 of probably a dozen, if not more, different styles that are out there. So I'm letting you know that because what we tried to do is, try to size this to what we would consider the universal tea light. But if for some reason it doesn't fit, 2 things you can do. One, you can take some scissors and just cut tiny little slits on the inside here. I'd probably just do 4 of them in the shape of a little cross, just tiny little ones, just to kind of help this pop onto the actual tea light itself without ripping, okay? So that's one solution. Or what you can do is maybe cut out one of these elements on a scrap piece of paper, test it, and increase it as necessary, okay? So this is a pretty straightforward little piece. You know what, let's go ahead and put the band on. I'm actually gonna use this little tea light here. And to get the band on, you'll notice that I did ink this with a little bit of brown, and also did a print and cut with my beautiful lady's name on there. And what we're going to do is just wrap this around, and we're going to grab our glue. We're going to put glue not only on the very edge here, but also right up to this section here where you have that little crease. Okay, so just wrap that around. Try to make it nice and taut. Okay, and make sure it's also even, and then just press and hold that in place while it sets. Okay, I don't know if that's good enough. It can be a little bit looser. Now I'm just straightening this out so that I can push down. I didn't put any glue beyond the fold, so that is going to work out perfectly. Okay, and the way we're going to do this, you can see that this piece here has the resemblance of a full circle. Okay, that's going to go on first, but what we want to do, I'm actually going to glue this all together beforehand. And you'll notice that on the little leaves here, we do have little score marks right at the very tips. Now that is so that you can fold this and give these leaves a little bit of dimension. So what I'm doing is I'm just taking these 2 fingers, my thumb and my middle finger, putting it on either side, and then using my pointer finger to kind of push down. And once you kind of get it going, you can go ahead and just pinch all the way up to the tip. Okay, and we're going to glue this onto this structure here, and you want to offset these, okay, so that we get as much real estate and as much of the leaves sticking out as possible. So that's one way of doing it, like that. I don't think I would do it like that. That doesn't make sense because these are on top of each other. Okay, and I think the most logical would be to do it this way, so that we have 5 leaves really kind of taken up as much space as possible. This is also another variation that you can do. I think I'm going to go with that one. Okay, so let's throw some glue around the little donut here, just like this. Okay, and we'll go ahead and glue that right on top, just making sure that we maintain proper alignment here. And actually, that's not how I wanted it. And don't worry about that. You can make a mistake like that. The flowers are actually going to go on top of this, and yep, I'm going to go like this. And one thing I forgot to do, because I'm blabbing here, is take and pinch the bottom ones as well. You'll notice that they also have some score marks. Okay, so go ahead and give those a nice little pinch right down the center there where that little line is. There should be a score mark there for you. Okay, there we go. You can also lift these up a little bit. Okay, there we go. Next, we're going to grab the actual poinsettia. Now, you'll notice that these are a little bit shaded. I believe this is AC Cherry. Let me see if that's cherry. Yep, it is AC Cherry. And I started with a little bit of red ink to distress the edges, and unfortunately, red on red doesn't always show up very well. I even used a very dark red, and just wasn't happy with the contrast, or the lack of contrast that it was creating. So I went with a purple. And of course, purple has a little bit of red in it. So naturally, if you ink red with purple, it should work nicely for you, okay? So the largest set of petals here is going to be the first layer that we put down. Okay, so we want to get that ready. I'm just kind of showing you what I'm doing as far as inking goes. If you head to our website, 3dsvg.com, and click on the blog button and kind of scroll through the blog listings, one of them is Inking 101, where I discuss and kind of show other techniques that I personally use when inking my projects. Also, on that blog post, you'll find links to my favorite inks, which are these guys here. They're Memento by Dewdrop. I use dye-based inks. Occasionally, when the situation calls for it, I will use some chalk-based inks, but the dye-based inks seem to penetrate into the papers a lot better, give me a lot better contrast, a more vivid sort of look compared to the chalk inks. But the chalk inks definitely have their place. Okay, so I would not discount them. And also these are just little felt pads made by Ranger. They come in a container like this. Okay, you can also find all of these supplies on our official app. If you go to the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store and type in Dreaming Tree, look for our logo, there's a section labeled supplies, and you'll find links to all this stuff there as well if you want to experiment with inking, which I highly recommend because it really takes your plain old cardstock and gives it a, not to be cliche here, but it gives it a whole another dimension. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and add some glue to this inner donut here. You don't need a lot, go easy with it. I think this would be a cool little project to do with the kids as well. I don't see why not. Okay, and just line up those holes there. Make sure everything's nice and centered. And I'm just giving it a good press. Okay, you can also take these and give them a little pinch. Just kind of pinch the tips, just like we did with the leaves. And that's just going to create some nice dimension on this so it's not so flat. And I don't know how many people you're expecting. You know, if you've got a huge crowd, I don't know if you want to, I mean, it wouldn't take that long. You could probably do this in a few hours. You can make place settings for pretty much everyone. Otherwise, you know, if you are looking for an excuse to get into the craft room, just make a handful of these, scatter them around on your table, and you know, add some nice ambiance to your holiday festivities. All right, so we've got the largest piece in place. We're going to grab the second largest, and before we put it on, again, I'm going to just go ahead and take and pinch these, give them a little bit of dimension. We've got the ink, we've got the pinching, the training as I like to call it. Kind of flare these up a little bit as well. I'm just going to do a few little dots. The tip of my nozzle is a little caked. All right, so when we put this one down, you don't want to put it right on top of the previous layer. You want to offset it, okay, so that each little petal gets a little bit of limelight here. Okay, there we go. Do your best to get that as centered as you can. And finally, the smallest set of petals, you can go ahead and pinch those as well. And they don't have to be perfect. If you look at flowers in nature, rarely are they perfect. They're battling the elements constantly. I mean, occasionally they'll look perfect, but that is fleeting. It doesn't last a very long time. Okay, so for this one here, just so that we can be a little more precise with where we place our glue, since this is the top layer that everyone's going to see, I'm going to do it on the back of that. Again, make sure you offset the petals, match up that little circle in the center. That's where our light's going to go, obviously. Get it nice and centered, nice and offset. And there it is, beautiful. And we are now ready to pop that onto the actual light. Now again, this one is a little bit bigger than the standard one, but I was able to get that on there without cracking or doing anything to the actual petals. And there you have it. Let me rotate that a little bit so that the name is a little more visible. And there you have it. Beautiful little place setting. Again, if you omit the name, a nice little piece of decor for your holidays. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please take a moment and hit that subscribe button on our YouTube channel. Also hit that bell so you get notifications anytime we release a new bundle, whether it be paid or free. And if you make this or anything from our latest bundle, the Festive Ornaments bundle, I'd love to see it, and so would the rest of our community. So head over to your Facebook and do a search for Dreaming Tree Official, or you can type in this little URL that you see here at the bottom of your screen. So I can't wait to see your take on our beautiful poinsettia tea light, and as always, I look forward to crafting with you again. Hey, thanks for crafting along with me. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, check out some of our other videos, and also please consider hitting that subscribe button. And don't forget to visit our site and check out our free SVG section, where we have over 140 free SVG files complete with assembly videos. I look forward to crafting with you soon.